Live from Wayne Prophet Court, you're watching women's college basketball on LHSN as the University of Lynchburg Hornets play host to the RMC Yellow Jackets. Battle between two of the top 6 seeds inside the ODAC. Going to be a fun one today. Plus, it's a Code Red contest here inside Turner Gymnasium. TJ Winger alongside Nathaniel Pierce to take you through all the action. Well, Pierce, in a moment, we'll show some stats coming into today's contest. But in your eyes, what are some big keys to the game?
I think, honestly, the first thing that we should look at is the fact that less than 20 hours ago, Randolph-Macon played at home in Ashland in overtime. They played extra basketball, 45 minutes of basketball, and are here again today, this afternoon, to play another game of basketball. That's got to have a big impact on how they play. Of course, Lynchburg, they want to capitalize on that. We already know Randolph-Macon wants to slow down the pace. They're allowing less than 59 points per contest from their opponent. They want to slow down the pace. Lynchburg has got to get out fast, got to get out in transition, got to get those fast break points.
So this becomes a track meet, advantage Lynchburg, right? If this becomes battle between one possession at a time, that probably plays in the favor of the Yellow Jackets. And the Yellow Jackets, their record showcases that exactly. If you make this possession by possession, it's a tough team to beat in that setting. Here are some of those stats coming into today's contest. Also a big battle on the glass, nearly identical in rebounds per game. But that said, Randolph-Macon first in the ODAC in rebound margin, plus 9.3 advantage over their opponents. That is huge. Now let's talk about some players to watch. You mentioned it yesterday, or you mentioned it just a moment ago, Pierce. Yesterday, Randolph-Macon played host to Roanoke. Leading scorer in that contest, Sheridan Hatfield, the junior from Virginia, finished with 17 points in that game. And it was another showcase where the starting five did a lot of work for RMC. We'll talk about that throughout the broadcast. On the other side, for Lynchburg, Kate Kolb has been stellar since stepping into the starting five, reigning athlete of the week for women's basketball, and 11 straight starts and 8 games with 10-plus points during that stretch. She has been fantastic offensively, but also on the defensive side. And, of course, we have to talk about the coaches for both sides. You see them on your screen right now talking before the contest. Second-year head coach Lindsey Burke against first-year head coach Allison Nichols. Two young and up-and-coming coaches with bright offensive minds. This is going to be a fun one to watch without a doubt. With all that said, the stage is set. We're getting ready for tip. The national anthem has arrived to Lynchburg, Virginia, so we'll step aside and come back with starters as well as tip-off. You're watching Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon on LHSN.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic in Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Back in Lynchburg, Virginia, having the starting lineups introduced. We'll do the same for you now. The starting lineup for Randolph-Macon do a lot of the work for the Yellow Jackets. These two teams have already played this season. That first matchup, one of the first conference battles for both sides, that was December 4th. Randolph-Macon finished that game with 73 points. Their starters accounted for 65 of them. So get ready to hear me say these starters' names a lot. The starting lineups include Becca Anthony, Devin Conrad, Catherine Cagey, Amy DeBell, and our player to watch, Sheridan Hatfield. And on the other side for Lynchburg, both Vetters into the starting lineup, Brooke and Meredith Vetter, Kate Kolb, Lizzie Davis, and Erin Green. Pierce, let's take the opportunity to talk about the most recent game for both sides, starting with Lynchburg. It was a close contest at Hollins most recently on February 2nd, and really, until late, 11-6 winning the fourth quarter. That's what propelled Lynchburg to the 54-53 win. So a little bit of a scare. Hollins is a program that has really taken some steps forward this year. And playing close games, same could be said about Randolph-Macon. It was a 70-63 win yesterday for the Yellow Jackets at home, but a game that needed overtime. 45 minutes of basketball only being played yesterday. And really one of the things that stood out when we talked about it before the game, Randolph-Macon was stellar from the free throw line.
Oh, absolutely. They went 15 for 15 in that game against Roanoke yesterday. And that's something that Lynchburg should really take into consideration moving into today. They don't want to send Randolph-Macon to the foul line.
And in that game, again, it wasn't until late that the team that ultimately came away proved to be the better squad. And you look at that win for Randolph-Macon, they launched the third quarter 20-12. Put themselves in a big hole, won the fourth quarter 22-13. That sent it to overtime, and then the Yellow Jackets ran away with it against the Maroons, taking the extra period 15-8, good for that 7-point victory at home. And then the 2-hour drive this morning, and as we said, second meeting between these two squads this season. First time round, advantage RMC taking down Lynchburg 73-61. And I think another interesting factor in that first meeting, game's high scorer, Sammy Sever with 21. Obviously, Sever not playing tonight, out for the rest of the season. So what does that mean for Lynchburg? Where does that offensive production come from throughout the rest of the roster? I mean, I think Olivia Harris has done a stellar job being a go-to scorer off the bench, but of course, more work than put on the plate of Erin Green, Lizzie Davis, the Vetters, Kate Kolb, of course. Opening tip is up. First possession goes to Randolph-Macon, and it's Sheridan Hatfield to bring it across half court.
As you were saying, TJ, without Severs today in this matchup, Lynchburg is going to have to kind of change their attack pattern a little bit. And, of course, I've already played this squad once this season. They kind of have an idea of what they need to do. They just need to execute on that.
A little bit of a different look for Lynchburg. Body-to-body defense to start results in an open three from the corner. First shot of the day from Conrad. No good. Jump ball. Possession goes to Lynchburg. It was Davis falling on it. Speaking of Lizzie Davis, about top 5 in the country in assists per game, 6.4 dimes per contest. And that goes along with 13.2 points per game. So she scores basketball on her own, but also does a great job setting up her teammates. First possession for the Hornets. Sees the shot clock wind all the way down below 10 seconds. Kolb down low. Brooke Vetter spins right. Layup attempt. No good.
We saw a bit of a different offensive look there for Lynchburg just in that one possession with the four out, one in kind of look, with Kate Kolb on the outside trying to pull Amy DeBell away from the basket to keep her from stopping them down low.
Consecutive possessions featuring a shot from Conrad. Another miss for the junior. Tipped out of play. And speaking of the class for both sides, I think that's an interesting storyline. You look at Randolph-Macon, a couple seniors, 2 juniors, then 1 underclassman, a sophomore in the starting lineup. That sophomore is Catherine Cagey. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, all 5 starters, seniors. Kolb to the baseline. Picked up by DeBell. And Lynchburg gets the first bucket of the contest. Who else but our player to watch for the Hornets, Kate Kolb. Long 2, rattled through. Opening the scoring for Randolph-Macon, that looks like Amy DeBell. Sailed out by Vetter. So now Davis will inbound from underneath the basket. And this is a spot where she has racked up the assists. A lot of times Lynchburg looks to try to get it in immediately to the restricted circle. Not on this occasion. It's back down to Meredith Vetter. Now down low. Green to Davis for three. Indeed.
If Lynchburg can keep getting looks like that, this game might look a lot different than it did when they met at the beginning of the season.
And Lindsay Davis shooting 15.4% from beyond the arc. If she starts to pick up that production from downtown, look out. This Lynchburg team could get on a hot stretch down the rest of the season and become a dangerous foe to face once we get to the postseason. Shot off the mark for Becca Anthony. Hornets take over up by 3. 7.5 to play in the first quarter. And it's also a battle between two squads that are playing to a strength of sorts. Randolph-Macon give a ton of credit to Coach Burke. 6-2 on the road this year. That is a fantastic mark. Lynchburg on the other side, 8-1 at home. Plus it's a Code Red game. Pretty solid crowd on hand for a Saturday afternoon clash. Kolb turns it over, picked up by DeBell.
As you were talking about, TJ, with both of their respective records in their current situation, I can imagine this is going to stay close throughout the entire matchup. Lynchburg doesn't want to lose another one at home. Randolph-Macon doesn't want to lose another one on the road. They're both going to be fighting hard for this. It'll be exciting to see where this goes.
Hatfield called for the travel. Randolph-Macon also winners of 6 in a row in this series history. And all time, the Yellow Jackets 52-26 against Lynchburg, taking 66.7% of the all-time meetings. Last time the Hornets both won here at home, but also just in general beat the Yellow Jackets was back in 2017, which is a little scary to say. That was 5 years ago now. Miss from inside the painted area. Yellow Jackets still trail by 1 possession. Kicked away by Green. Inbound set from underneath the basket for RMC. And for Randolph-Macon, it's wins in 3 of their last 5, 2 of their last 3. Losses coming against Washington-Ali at home and also Mary Washington, which is where Lindsey Burke actually got her first head coaching job, was working with the Eagles for 3 seasons. Now a 1-point game. Olivia Harris just checked in. Now she drives in with the left-handed layup. Off the mark. Last touched by a Hornet. Randolph-Macon now with the chance to take their first lead of the day. Amy DeBell has all 4 so far for the Yellow Jackets. Hatfield couldn't control the pass. He turns it over. This is a Randolph-Macon team that's ordinarily very sound with the basketball. First in the ODAC in turnovers per game, 15.4. Seen a couple of miscues early on. And if you're Lynchburg, sort of playing as the underdog, this is going to be a pretty evenly battled contest, but even more so the point. In a close game, got to take advantage of those miscues on the other side. Lynchburg unable to do so in this possession.
Absolutely, TJ, and especially with coming into this game, that being one of the statistics, one of the few that were actually different between these two squads, with Lynchburg having almost 5 more turnovers a game than Randolph-Macon.
Hatfield able to get the pass off underneath the basket. Back out, far side wing 3, no good. Davis in transition, slows the tempo. Finds Harris in the corner, lines up the triple. Off the front of the rim, no good. Rebound for Becca Anthony, averaging 4.3 boards per contest. More than midway through the first quarter. Travel call, Catherine Cagey turns it over. And to that point, already the 3rd turnover for Randolph-Macon. And the stop and play brings us to our first media timeout. So we will step aside and come back with more. Lynchburg up by 1 early on. You're watching the Hornets and the Yellow Jackets on LHSN. 4 minutes, 53 seconds to go in the first quarter. TJ Wingen alongside Nathaniel Pierce on LHSN. And Pierce, you and I just during the break were talking about it's been a daunting schedule of late. Lynchburg's now played 7 games over the last 2 weeks, 5 games played over the last 14 days for Randolph-Macon. But, of course, they have the short stick and the fact that they played, like we said in the open, less than 20 hours ago. That cannot be easy in and out on the attempt for Vetter.
No, not at all, especially with, of course, we have all the COVID cancellations and everything, or postponements for these conference games, just making the schedule that much harder. I mean, these women are playing WNBA-type schedules. They're back-to-back almost.
It doesn't get any easier for Randolph-Macon. Their next game's on Monday. Lynchburg at least has a little bit of a break. They stood up and hit the road Wednesday, take on Roanoke.
I'm sure that is a break that Lynchburg will love as well.
Even just a couple days feels like a pseudo-vacation. Shot long, rebound Meredith Vetter. Davis ahead to Brooke Vetter. Nice touch for Vetter, backing down Haley Pascalone. And the Hornets stretch the lead up to 3.
We're going to have to see a little bit more of that fast-paced ball movement, getting it up the court quickly, get those points in transition from Lynchburg. They want to stand a chance against Randolph-Macon in this one.
Randolph-Macon, the number 2 pick in the ODAC preseason poll. Denied by Erin Green. She does it on both ends, Pierce. This time swatting the shot coming from Allison Burdett, freshman from Martinsburg, West Virginia. Something else we talked about during the break was, man, Erin Green does a great job sealing off her defender on the offensive side, and everything she does scoring the basketball can overlook what she does defensively, but leads the ODAC in blocks per game, nearly 3 a contest. And might get credited for a second block there. She touched the basketball, and ultimately it's a shot clock violation, ending the possession for Randolph-Macon. Only 4 points so far for the Yellow Jackets. And yesterday for Randolph-Macon taking on Roanoke, the second quarter was a little lower scoring. Only 14 points in total. 8 points put up by Randolph-Macon in that quarter. Shot knocked through for Erin Green.
You were just talking about how she can do it on both sides of the floor. That doesn't just mean under the basket.
She can stretch the floor as well. She's now 1 for 1 to start her day from downtown. Nice dish from Davis. Harris can't convert.
Make her miss. That's the energy Lynchburg needs.
3-point shot. Hoisted up. No good for Conrad. Put back 2. Knocked through for Randolph-Macon. And something we've already made mention to. Points off of turnovers feel huge, but also second chance points. Can you turn those offensive rebounds into points for your side? So far, I haven't had a whole lot of offensive boards in this contest, but certainly the points off of turnovers is a discussion to be had. 5 turnovers for Randolph-Macon, only 3 points so far for Lynchburg to show for it. And it even goes back to that Harris missed layup, right? Little plays like that ultimately could add up throughout the entire contest to prove to be a difference, as well as the free throw line. Here's the foul that sent Meredith Vetter to the line.
No, and to the point about the turnovers as well, Randolph-Macon has 5. Lynchburg's only gotten 3 points off of it, but they've only gotten 1 turnover so far. So they're controlling the ball really well in this first quarter. Hopefully they can keep that up throughout the rest of the game, and it might give them some good looks down the line.
Lynchburg averaging just under 18 turnovers per contest, right around the middle of the pack of the ODAC. Cross-court swing, nice find. The 3 for Burdett. Won't knock through. It's a cold shooting start for Randolph-Macon, now 0 for 7 from the perimeter. Marissa Ziegler looking for help. Burdett, back to Ziegler. One more time, Burdett, nothing but nylon. Randolph-Macon take advantage of all 30 seconds they have on the shot clock. Trifecta makes it a 2-point difference. Mackenzie Brundage just checked into the game a moment ago for the Hornets. She stands at the top of the key. Instead, the pass goes to Kate Kolb, fouled on her way up. Layup won't knock through, but the whistle sends Kolb to the line for 2, and just like Aaron Green, one of the biggest strengths Lynchburg has is you see the foul again. These bigs take care of business at the free throw line, and it makes your life so much easier if you're Coach Nichols, if you have an Aaron Green shooting 81% from the line, or a Kate Kolb right now stepping to the charity stripe, 76.4% free throw shooter.
Absolutely. This is a different look than basketball 10 years ago.
Oh, no doubt.
You wanted to foul the bigs. They couldn't make their free throws, but the game is changing, and you can see that on Lynchburg's squad.
Kolb looking to bring it back to a 2-possession advantage, and does just that. Had 17 points at Hollins, also a season-high 13 rebounds. Nice spin move. KG gets away from Brundage. Layup no good. Second chance won't go down either. Good look for Conrad after getting the offensive rebound. No points to show for it. Nice entry pass from Vetter. One-handed snag and a finish from Kolb.
That little bit of hesitation from Vetter could have cost that play. We're lucky it didn't.
As much as we talk about Aaron Green and how good she is at sealing off her defender, the same could certainly be said about Kate Kolb. Jump ball call. It's going to stay with Randolph-Macon.
It's an interesting call.
35.9 seconds to go in the first quarter. And how about this? Hornets, no fouls.
We talked about that once before. It's something they need to make sure to keep on top of. 15 for 15 last night. They've got to have a hot hand going to that line, speaking of.
And on cue, the broadcaster Jinx comes in perfectly. There's nothing like saying something, feeling smart about it, and then immediately fortune bounces the other way. It's all good. Long basketball game. I'm still getting loose, too. First free throw knocked down. Now a 5-point difference. Devin Conrad's first point of the day. Junior from Parkville, Virginia, 70.8% free throw shooter. Makes it a 2-for-2 trip. 4+ second differential between shot and game clock.
It's an interesting defensive look for Randolph-Macon.
Yellow Jackets settle into their zone. Meredith Vetter over to Brundage from the corner. 3-point heave off the back iron. Long rebound gathered by Meredith Vetter. Now the shot clock turned off. Lynchburg with a chance to garner the final shot of the quarter. Hop step for Davis. She'll be called for a travel. Now Randolph-Macon with 3.4 seconds to work with. Wisely Davis picks up Hatfield. Heave just in front of half court, tipped, and well short of the cup. 10 minutes through. Lynchburg up by 4, 15-11. But a fun start to the contest. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more to watch between Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon coming to you on LHSN.
Look what you're missing. It really don't matter to me. I'm just happy to be here. I might go crazy.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
10 minutes through, Lynchburg up by 4. We're set for the second quarter. TJ Wingert alongside Nathaniel Pierce, and the Hornets have the first possession of the second set of 10. One of the big differences so far in this contest, Lynchburg 2 for 5 from downtown. Randolph-Macon 1 for 8 to start. Beyond the three-point line. Kolb too strong in the pass. Third turnover to go against Lynchburg. To continue to talk about the three-point shooting, you have to be careful about if you're Lynchburg taking advantage or leaning into that stat, because we've seen with the men's basketball games of late, sometimes teams just come out shooting the basketball cold in the first half and things turn around in a big way in the second half. So it's tough if you're a coach. If a team's not shooting it well, you want to say, okay, hey, we're going to pack the paint, make you shoot it, but also it takes one shot, becomes two, then three, and next thing you know, a team's scorching hot from downtown.
Absolutely. And if Lynchburg can really get that three ball going, that's just one more thing Randolph-Macon has to really worry about. Because right now, if they can lock down the paint and that three isn't going in, you know, they feel like they might be in a good spot moving forward.
And that's also a good point, right? If Randolph-Macon starts knocking down threes, but you're still shooting an efficient clip from downtown, not a whole lot to worry about there as Harris misses on the two. In out of the hands of Vetter. And in transition, no numbers advantage. The runner, no good. Shot taken by KG. Last touch by Randolph-Macon. Lynchburg to take over. Second Code Red game of the week here at the University of Lynchburg. Men's basketball took down Hampton-Sydney in the middle of what's now been 3 consecutive home comeback wins for the men's basketball squad. Women's side looking to emulate that success and come away with the dub today. Split the season series with Randolph-Macon. Additionally, get their first win in almost 5 years against the Yellow Jackets. Nice give and go. Enough touch. Knocked through by the junior from Percival, Virginia, Haley Pasqualone. Lynchburg immediately answers. Meredith Vetter pushes the lead back to 4.
So more of that speed from Lynchburg is what they're going to need, especially if they keep letting these easy looks go down low.
Pasqualone, nice find underneath the cup, all by her lonesome. Catherine KG with perhaps the easiest two she'll finish the day with. Kate Kolb answers back with the left hand. Now both offenses seemingly finding their stride.
You know, one interesting statistic so far in this game for Lynchburg is over half their points so far have come from inside the paint.
And that's an area we've seen Lynchburg dominate. There was a stretch earlier this season against Virginia Wesleyan and Ferrum in the mix as well. There was a 3-game stretch, and I'll get the exact 3 for you now. It was Virginia Wesleyan, Eastern Mennonite, and at Guilford. Ranging from the 18th through 24th of January, Lynchburg outscored their opponents 126-56 in the paint. Pure domination down low. Top of the arc, Lizzie Davis. This point in the game, 3 points for the senior. Speaking of a senior, Brooke Vetter lets it fly in and out. 7 minutes to go until we reach halftime. Drive. Layup attempt, no good. Paige Anderson averaging more than 2 points a contest. Davis off the feed from Meredith Vetter. Sinks the short-range shot. Timeout on the floor. 6:33 to go until we reach half. 6-point Lynchburg lead. 30-second timeout. I believe we will keep it here. No signal for immediate timeout. So let's take this opportunity, Pierce, to run down the resumes for both coaches, starting with second-year coach Lindsey Burke. First year with Randolph-Macon. How about 4-0 in the regular season, 3-0 in ODAC play. Randolph-Macon, though, did not play in the ODAC tournament a season ago. Burke comes from University of Rochester, was an assistant coach with that Yellow Jackets program for 3 seasons. Before that was the director of basketball ops at Bucknell University from 2016-17. Had her first coaching job at Mary Washington. Talked about that in the first quarter. These two teams recently played Yellow Jackets and Mary Washington Eagles, that is. Eagles getting the best of RMC in that one. And also for Lindsey Burke, it's a really interesting position to find yourself replacing a longtime head coach, Carol LaHaye, who had been the head coach for Randolph-Macon since 1982. So it's not just you're the new head coach for a program that's had a lot of success of late. you're replacing a legend, which I can only imagine what the weight on her shoulders must feel like. And on the other side, it's Allison Nichols. You see in the huddle with Lynchburg now, her first year leading the program. 11-8 record. Overall in the season, 7-5 against conference foes. Comes from Roanoke after spending 5 years with the Maroons as the associate head coach and assistant coach before that. So it's also, speaking of that, obviously Randolph-Macon played Roanoke last night, and Lynchburg and Roanoke share some similar play styles, especially on the offensive side. Coach Nichols and Coach Flaherty obviously worked with one another a lot over the last 5 years and had that similar offensive mindset. Get out, push the tempo, work in fast break sets, long two knock through. And maybe because of that, Randolph-Macon has a little bit of advantage, at least seeing these two teams back-to-back. It's not like you're going from a team that really wants to slow it down and make it a possession-by-possession game, and then you play a fast break team that gives you a completely different look. You're seeing some of the similar looks between these two teams.
Absolutely, and you could see last night just looking at the box score with the Roanoke game where it wasn't until really the fourth quarter that Randolph-Macon was able to put a stop to that and come back and push the game to overtime and ultimately take the game.
Three-point shot knocked down. Pasqualone gets her first trifecta on the day. All of a sudden, back to a one-point contest. No room for Vetter. Backs it out to Green. Now Brooke Vetter finds Kate Kolb behind her defender. An easy layup finish for Kolb. Up to 6 on the afternoon. Olivia Harris is going to check in for Lynchburg the next dead ball. KG to the free throw line. Anderson back out far side. Hatfield without any points so far today. Our Randolph-Macon player to watch. Nice feed from Hatfield and good finish through contact for KG.
There's some interesting defensive looks on Lynchburg's end. The rotations, I can understand them, but sometimes it just seems like they're letting them go straight to the rim and hoping they miss.
The make here, Randolph-Macon move out in front of Lynchburg, and I believe it would be their first lead on the day. From the corner, Pasqualone gives the Yellow Jackets that first advantage on the afternoon. Davis over to Vetter, head fake, and 3 in the key called. Going against Aaron Green, a flurry of subs check on. Olivia Harris, we talked about for Lynchburg, joined by Mimi Oliver. Meanwhile, for Randolph-Macon, Peyton Humphreys is back into the contest. Marissa Ziegler, one of those 4 subs for the Yellow Jackets. There's the 3 from Pasqualone. Big shot for the junior. Currently the leading scorer for Randolph-Macon with 8. Another 3-point shot, this time put up by Burdette. Clunked off the back of the iron. Yellow Jackets started to pick up the production from the perimeter, but still 3 of 11 as a team from beyond the arc. Less than 4 to go in the first half. Green ties it up 25-piece.
We were talking about coming out of that last break, how Aaron Green is so good at sealing off her defenders down low, and see another example of that right there.
We saw some person-to-person defense to start the game for Lynchburg. Now more the 2-3 zone that we're accustomed to seeing from the Hornets. Lynchburg looking to retake their lead. Harris thought about the step-back tray. We've seen her use that move more than a handful of times this season. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Green to Oliver, right-handed hook. Off the backboard and through. Lynchburg ahead 27-25. Mimi Oliver, part of that rotation of bigs. And with seemingly no Sarah Johnson tonight, looks like Mimi Oliver will be touching the floor a little bit more. And here Oliver called for the foul. She's in disbelief. So stepping the line will be Catherine KG. Lone underclassman and the starting 5 for Randolph-Macon, a sophomore from Roanoke, Virginia. Shooting just under 64% from the line this year. Knocks through the first. KG now with 7 points on the afternoon. give you another look at the foul and let you decide. Did that right arm come down too far for Oliver? Looked like from my vantage point, perhaps. Offensive rebound. Aaron Green denies KG.
With the stare down.
And it's one of those things where sometimes your eyes just come across one another and lock for a moment, and us broadcasters love that for a broadcast. 2:46 to go in the first half.
You know, TJ, on that last one, they got the offensive rebound, but one thing that's kind of important to highlight is they've got 7 offensive boards so far in this contest and only 3 points. They've only gotten 1 opportunity to go in on that second chance.
They'll get 2 more here. Off the glass and through for Amy DeBell. DeBell had the first 4 on the day for Randolph-Macon. Davis lost it for a moment. Regathers. Harris from the wing knocks it through. Harris, the 31.7% three-point shooter, gets her first make of the day after an 0-for-5 start from the floor. Davis generates the turnover. Goes to the cup. No whistle. Might have been some slight contact, but overall kind of plays to the similar tune of what we were talking about with a lot of offensive rebounds for Randolph-Macon, not a whole lot of second chance points. We've seen 8 turnovers so far for Randolph-Macon, only 3 points off of it for Lynchburg. Corner 3, no good. Another offensive rebound. DeBell backs it out. Ziegler's pass taken away, trying to get it down low to Humphreys. Turnover number 9 for Randolph-Macon.
I can imagine that's going to be a conversation going into the locker room at the break.
Well, it's just interesting to see those teams mirror one another just in different statistical categories. Garnering extra possessions one way or another, whether it's via a turnover or an offensive rebound. But either side able to take full advantage. 66 seconds to go in the first half. Kate Kolb's going to check back in. 4 subs on for Randolph-Macon. And again, it's the starting 5 doing a lot of the heavy lifting, with the exception of Haley Pasqualone with 8 points off the bench. That's as many bench points as Randolph-Macon had in the entire game against Lynchburg the first time these two teams played.
Which, that's something, I mean, it's impressive, don't get me wrong, but it's something Lynchburg's going to have to consider going through the second half of this game. That if the Randolph-Macon bench can produce like that, more so than they did in their first matchup, might prove a little bit more fatal in that second half.
Even yesterday, Randolph-Macon with only 8 points off the bench against Roanoke. Hornets get a bucket, then the stop. A little more than 10-second difference between shot and game clock. Doesn't look like the Hornets are going to try to press the advantage and go for the 2-for-1. Harris, though, with a good look, knocks through the right-handed layup. 6-point lead for Lynchburg. Three-point shot for Anthony, misses long. 12 seconds for Lynchburg to operate with. Davis takes the screen from Green, attacks the basket. With the right hand, sends us to halftime. Lynchburg up by 8 at the break, 36-28, your score. Been a fun first half to watch. We'll step aside and come back with some stats to catch you up on all the first half action, just in case you missed any of it. You're watching Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon on LHSN.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
Be ready for anything, okay? Come on, let's go together. Together, let's go. Come on. Let's go, keep going. There is the best to it. Straight? Yeah, yep. Yeah. Cool. Good one. All right, guys, you see the meat grinder down here? Stay in the boat. Let's go. Oh, what you think of that? Woo!
Get small classes, nationally recognized mentoring and advising, and a community that has your back every step of the way at the University of Lynchburg.
At the break in Lynchburg, Virginia, 8-point advantage for the Hornets. You're watching Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon on LHSN. It's TJ Wingert alongside Nathaniel Pierce for this contest. We're going to run you through some of the stats from the first half of play and one of the big disparities so far, and it hasn't been as bad, especially after the second quarter, but the three-point shooting percentage still a solid advantage for the Hornets. They've taken less shots, 3 for 9 through the first half, and then on the other side, Randolph-Macon 3 for 13, but started to see some progress there in the second quarter. If the Hornets start to allow more and more three-point shots to fall for Randolph-Macon, look out. Yellow Jackets going to be right back into this one.
Absolutely. If they let Randolph-Macon, they're going to tear this lead up. They're going to possibly take it over, but Lynchburg does have one advantage, is they have almost as many points in the paint as Randolph-Macon has points. So if they can keep that production up down low, they may not have to worry about that three-point percentage for Randolph-Macon too much.
It's a 24-10 advantage in points in the paint. And this is a Randolph-Macon team that has players who can score down low. So that is a huge advantage that I didn't exactly anticipate being able to say through this game so far. Talking about turnovers, 9 for Randolph-Macon, 4 for Lynchburg. The Hornets have 5 points off of those turnovers. No points off of 4 turnovers generated for Randolph-Macon. That's another big difference in this contest. And something else we made note of throughout that first half, 9 offensive rebounds for RMC to just 1 for Lynchburg. And that is uncanny territory. If you're a Hornets fan, you know this team rebounds the basketball really, really well. These two teams were neck and neck in that category. RMC 3rd in the ODAC and rebounds per game. Lynchburg 4th. But today, touching on the O boards, we're seeing a huge separating point between these two sides. And then the points off of those second chance opportunities. Hasn't been as big of an advantage, though, for Randolph-Macon. Just 5 points off of those offensive rebounds for the Yellow Jackets, and no second chance points to show for it for Lynchburg. There are some of the stats from the first half. We'll take a quick pause, come back, show you some highlights, and talk about some of the individual contributions from the first set of 20. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more to watch between Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon on LHSN.
Look what you're missing.
It really don't matter to me, I'm just happy to be here, I might go crazy.
(36-28) your score at halftime. You're watching the Hornets and the Yellow Jackets battle it out on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. TJ Winger alongside Nathaniel Pierce. We're going to take this opportunity to show you some highlights from the first half of action. We're going to talk about some of the individual contributions from the first half of play. And I think one of the bigger surprises for me, Pierce, was the bench production we've seen already for Randolph-Macon. Haley Pasquilone already with 8 points off the bench. That in and of itself is the exact total that Randolph-Macon had their bench pour in yesterday against Roanoke, and it's the exact same total that the Yellow Jackets had in the first meeting between these two sides. They also have 3 bench points coming from Allison Burdett. She went 1 for 5 shooting in the first half from the floor, 1 for 4 from downtown. And then the starters into the scoring column, Catherine KG with 7, Amy DeBell with 6, and then Devin Conrad with 4, 1 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from downtown from Conrad. Half her points come from the free throw line. And it's created a really interesting spot where coming into this one, obviously expected a lot of scoring production from the starters. 3/5 of it have been able to do just that, but the bench has been really impressive, especially shooting the basketball. Again, Haley Pasquilone, 2 for 3 from downtown, 3 for 4 overall.
Absolutely, and this could have been a threat that Lynchburg wasn't quite ready for. We might have seen that in a little bit of their defensive breakdown there in the second quarter. But it's also one thing you could consider is the fact they played less than 20 hours ago, as we mentioned a few times now. So Randolph-Macon might be trying to push some of that initial scoring off the bench so that second half, when they really need those points to come through, they can use their starters, and especially Hatfield, who hasn't had even an attempt yet.
She was our player to watch and felt really confident about it coming into it, to be honest with you. But so far, not even a shot attempt for Hatfield. And speaking of players to watch, we'll transition to Lynchburg. How about Kate Cole with a really nice first half? Already 10 points, 2 for 2 from the line, 4 for 5 shooting from the floor. And again, she does such a great job sealing off her defender. As much as, the guards find her in a good spot, she really creates open looks for herself.
Absolutely. And with the 4 for 5 shooting, moving into this second half of play, I can only imagine Lynchburg is going to continue feeding her the ball until they start double and triple teaming her, until, leaving everybody else wide open for good looks.
Exactly. Mutually assured destruction at that point if you're Randolph-Macon. And then also, if it's not Kolb, Aaron Green, 3 for 4 shooting in the first half, 7 points to show for Green. But then also the guards. Lindsey Davis played a really solid first half, 2 assists, 7 points. And then also Olivia Harris, 0 for 5 start, couple of makes to end the first half. If Davis and Harris start chipping in from downtown, around the perimeter, or even just attacking the basket themselves, look out. This Lynchburg offense is going to be at its peak production.
Oh, yeah, and it's going to be a scary look for Randolph-Macon, especially here at Wayne Prophet Court on a Code Red Saturday. Might not be good for Randolph-Macon coming out of the break.
I echo those thoughts entirely. We're going to step aside, come back with a little bit more of this halftime show, but also get you set for everything you need to know for the second half. You're watching Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon on LHSN.
I would definitely say to reach out. Me personally, I know several of my classmates would be more than happy to talk, to get a text, get a phone call, get an email, whatever it may be, and just answer any questions that you have. The faculty here, they're great, but of course coming in, sometimes it's better to hear it from a student than from a future professor. So reach out. Nobody is afraid or unwilling to help. I would have loved to have someone to reach out to, and now that we're here, we are those people that they can reach out to. So feel free, ask questions. We're here to help you go through what we've just been through.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something. It becomes a family. It doesn't matter how long ago you had your professor, they still remember you, and they remember all of the hard work that you put in. They're always there for you, and they always want to do the best that they can to help you succeed. Here, you learn how to love one another regardless of what's going on or what you believe. You leave here better than what you came in. It's what the school's really good at doing.
Okay. We're good.
Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia, getting you set for the second half of play between the Hornets and the Yellow Jackets. But first, I want to catch you up to date with everything going on around the ODAC for women's basketball. You're obviously watching Randolph-Macon in Lynchburg. You know the score. Washington leads Ferrum 44-31, and the only other game being played, Roanoke up by 20 against Virginia Wesleyan. But specifically talking about the Washington Lee game, that's a big one. If you're a Yellow Jackets fan watching this, you know RMC have the game back of WNL. And if the Generals hold on, you need a comeback win here. Play really well in the second half. Starts with an offensive rebound. It's a good start. But obviously a win allows you to keep pace with WNL, assuming they do hold on against Ferrum. Hatfield, pirouette along the baseline. Long two, left short. Conrad continues to struggle shooting the basketball, but the second chance points provided by Amy DeBell, making it a 6-point difference. And talking more big picture as Kolb gets points 11 and 12 on the day. These two teams, when it comes to the ODAC standings, Randolph-Macon second, again, half a game back of W&L for that top spot. Lynchburg sixth in the ODAC. Looks like Shenandoah's game is not going to be getting underway until 4:30, but that's another one. If you're a Lynchburg fan, it's an interesting one to keep your eye on. Guilford a little bit lower in the standings, but if Guilford were to get the road upset, take down Shenandoah, and Lynchburg were to hold on and get the win, you'd have a tie for fifth in the ODAC. Tiebreaker, though, would go to Shenandoah as they beat Lynchburg just earlier this week. But it's that time of the year. Conference implications, obviously a huge storyline each and every night. DeBell gets it back out. Hatfield did not take a shot in the first half. Again, trying to dump it off, kicked away by Green. Hatfield averaging more than 3 assists per game. Currently 5th in the ODAC in assist-to-turnover ratio and 8th in assists per contest. And you can see she's trying to play unselfish, trying to make that extra pass, but coming off 17 yesterday, there might be a time in this game where she looks to generate for herself as opposed for her teammates. Another block for Green. Through the hands of Anthony, gathered by Meredith Vetter. No numbers advantage for the Hornets. Davis lofts it up for Kolb. Touches every part of the rim and rattles out.
You know, that's one thing we were talking about on the break is the rebound advantage from Randolph-Macon to Lynchburg is insane, but we haven't really touched on the fact that Catherine Cagey and Amy DeBell are two monster rebounders under the basket.
Cagey averaging more than 8 boards per contest, good for second in the conference, and then Amy DeBell almost 7 boards per game. Aaron Green, the beneficiary off the pass from Davis. Senior connection pushes the ledger to 10.
Another interesting story for this game is Lynchburg has 4 blocks, and that's getting to about their average per game. Randolph-Macon doesn't have any. Averaging just over 3 a game. They got to start getting some of those down low, try to get back to on par with Lynchburg.
DeBell sinks the free throw line J. And DeBell now the first player for Randolph-Macon in double figures at 10. But also talking about the rebounding battle, we were just talking about it a moment ago. 27 rebounds on the day for Randolph-Macon, just 16 for Lynchburg. Part of that disparity, the Hornets are shooting almost 52% from the floor. Randolph-Macon on the other side, 33.3. So especially offensive rebounds. Miss more O boards to go around, make more shots. The opposite is true.
Absolutely. And on that point, they have an equal amount of defensive rebounds. So
Conrad gets her own miss. And DeBell stays hot.
DeBell will take that offensive mismatch any day.
You saw DeBell go into the shooting motion almost as soon as she got the pass. You could see she's comfortable from that spot on the court. Davis picks up her dribble, looking for help. Harris to Green. Went 1 for 2 from three-point land in the first half. Instead, it's Oliver. Throws it off the backboard. Easy rebound for Anthony. Pass zipped forward. Now back to DeBell from the free throw line. Missed, then tipped out. Nice play from Catherine Cagey. Sets up the 3. Knocked down by Becca Anthony. Timeout called by Coach Nichols. That sends us to a media timeout. Randolph-Macon storming back to make it a 3-point contest. You're watching Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon on LHSN. 40-37 your score. Been a hot start to the second half for Randolph-Macon, taking the third quarter of play so far. Still a lot of basketball to go, but currently a 9-4 edge for the Yellow Jackets. And before the timeout, three-point shot off the offensive rebound was Becca Anthony getting her first 3 points on the day. We talked about Sheridan Hatfield being scoreless, not even taking a shot at the break, but the other starter with no points was Anthony, 0 for 2 shooting from the field. There, gets her first 3, and another one of those players where if she gets hot, look out. Anthony averaging more than 10 points per contest. Lynchburg looking to respond. Davis leaves it short. Ball was live on the floor for a moment. Gathered by Conrad. It's a 5-0 run for Randolph-Macon. A three-point shot could tie this game up. Conrad lost it. There's DeBell there to reset the possession. Now Conrad lets it fly. 3 no good. Vetter taps it to Oliver. Now the Hornets in transition. Harris had a lane to the basket. Couldn't finish with the left hand.
Randolph-Macon so far on these offensive possessions have been doing a really good job of pulling these mismatches on the offensive end.
You see a ton of off-ball movement and off-ball screens. Another offensive rebound. Anthony looks for space. Now finds DeBell. Nothing but the bottom of the net to make it a 1-point game. 7-0 Yellow Jackets run. Davis trying to find Brooke Vetter, tapped out of play. And that's also going to send us to a media timeout. 4:09 to go in the third quarter. You're watching Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon. Yellow Jackets on a 7-0 run. See if Lynchburg can hold them off when we come back. Hornets out of the huddle, looking to stave off a 7-0 Randolph-Macon run. 4:09 to go in the third quarter. TJ Winger alongside Nathaniel Pierce. And Pierce, we were looking at the box score from yesterday's game for RMC against Roanoke. That third quarter was a big point in that contest where Roanoke had the opportunity to run away, and they won the third quarter big, 20-12. But so far the third quarter being a little bit more kind to the Yellow Jackets this afternoon. Pasqualone had a couple of threes in the first half, leaves this one short.
Back to your point, TJ, I can imagine that was a conversation they had both yesterday and going into the locker room at the half, is they had to come out firing on all cylinders, excuse me.
Apologies, I distracted you. Olivia Harris was wide open after a couple of screens. Felt like they were going to zip it back to her direction. Instead, Vetter with the long 2. Got it to go. Pushes the lead back to 3.
But no, going into the break, Coach Burke talking to the Yellow Jackets has to have really emphasized the importance of this third quarter. Yesterday, the third quarter almost broke them, but going into that break already down by so much, if they repeated yesterday, much harder to come back from in that fourth.
Lynchburg gets a stop at the jump ball call. Have the opportunity now to push the lead back up beyond one possession. 2 screens at the top of the key. Back down to Kolb, now Vetter, hands off to Olivia Harris. By the way, Brooke Vetter up to 4 points on the day. Step back tray won't go down for Harris.
You can see here some of that slower pace offense from Randolph-Macon, really trying to control the clock, control the pace of the game. Lynchburg's got to get that pace, get it going, get it faster.
Mid-range jumper knocked through by DeBell. Who else from that spot? 42-41 your score. Harris feeds Green, trying to get to the free throw line. Kolb had it knocked away by Paige Anderson. And in the open, we talked about where Lynchburg might be able to press an advantage, moving this game where a lot of points on the fast break. So far, we've seen 3 total fast break points in this contest. Edge goes to Lynchburg, 3-0 lead in that category. But again, the team playing less than 20 hours after they tipped off against Roanoke, one of the best teams in the conference. Felt like Lynchburg had an opportunity to really push the tempo in this one. But it seems both teams content with, once you get across half court, setting up the offense.
I can only imagine from just like myself having been tired before, as most people have, that neither offense is really upset by that sort of play style because they've both had WNBA type schedules recently.
Shot clock violation. To continue that point, tired. No, it's not an emotion I've ever felt. Can't say I relate to that. Jokes aside, less than 2 to go in the third. Hornets in this third quarter, only 6 points so far. Green, unable to get to the basketball first. Paige Anderson took a good route, cut off the pass. Now it's Anderson on the floor, tangled up with Kolb. Jump ball. And alternating possession has it go to the favor of the Hornets. Less than 90 seconds now to play in the third.
Though we've seen some unkind turnovers on Lynchburg's behalf, you have to appreciate their tenacity and the aggression they're kind of playing with, especially on the defensive end. They're playing like they're down by 10, and they're not.
Harris blocked. Another jump ball called. RMC to take over. And talking about turnovers, if you're a Lynchburg fan, you have to be happy with where that number is at right now. Only 7 on the afternoon. Obviously, a little more than 11 minutes of basketball to go. A lot can change. You can rank up turnovers really quickly. But so far, Lynchburg's been really disciplined, maintaining possessions. Davis the last to touch it. Randolph-Macon with another opportunity. 54.2 seconds left to go in the third. Hatfield will inbound. Update on her game so far. 3 assists, 1 rebound, still no shots taken for our player to watch. Anderson, fouled on the way up. These will be free throws, 5 and 6 on the day for the Yellow Jackets. Fresh after going 15 for 15 yesterday from the line against Roanoke.
It's got to be a bit of a scary sight. I mean, this game has not had a lot of fouls in it, like at all on either side, which is impressive to say the least. But if Lynchburg starts sending the Yellow Jackets to the line, this could be a completely different look going into the fourth quarter.
Paige Anderson misses the first. Knocks through the second. Will give her her first point on the afternoon. And instead, 0 for 2 trip. Serves as a stop for Lynchburg. Pass fake from Vetter. Pass just a step away from Kate Kolb. Shot clock turned off. Less than 30 seconds to play before we head to the fourth quarter. Looks like a switch to person-to-person defense for Lynchburg. Nice slip pass. Hatfield found KG. The sophomore could not finish underneath the basket. 6 seconds to go in the third. Davis crosses right to left, hop step. Unable to beat the buzzer. 42-41 your score as we head to the final stanza. The final 10 minutes will decide who comes out on top. You're watching the Hornets and the Yellow Jackets on LHSN.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
It's not.
How you feeling?
Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
Lynchburg had the first possession of the fourth quarter, did nothing with it. Now the Yellow Jackets with a chance, push themselves back in front. I haven't seen a whole lot of lead changes in this contest. It's primarily been the Hornets in the driver's seat, but that's not to say the Yellow Jackets haven't been at Lynchburg's hip throughout the majority of the contest. Turnover picked up by Davis from the elbow. Misses strong. Long rebound. Becca Anthony picks it up. Fouled hard by Davis.
You know, TJ, and that's been a bit of the story today. I mean, you get those turnovers. That's now turnover number 13 for the Yellow Jackets. But Lynchburg still only has 5 points off of turnovers.
See the foul from Davis. Going to force Anthony to earn it at the line. Nearly a 79% free throw shooter. Anthony ties this game up, 42-all. And a 2-for-2 trip makes it a 1-point Randolph-Macon lead. In the third quarter, Lynchburg had just 6 points. Coming after an fantastic first half of worth of basketball, especially on the offensive end. It cooled down and did so very quickly. Kolb, after a discussion from the referees, called for the travel. First time these two teams met, Randolph-Macon won the first 3 quarters. Lynchburg tried to make the fourth quarter comeback, and that was the only quarter they won. Today's played out similarly to the opposite. Lynchburg took the first 2 quarters. Big third quarter for Randolph-Macon. Now the Yellow Jackets called for a travel in their own right. Minutes gone by. Only 2 points to show for it.
You know, with the way the Yellow Jackets are playing in the second half, I would never have known that they played a game just yesterday, last night.
This game certainly has turned into a battle, one possession versus another. Win this game in the half court. Davis throws it away. Turnover number 12 today for the Hornets. Lynchburg at the end of the first quarter was 2 for 5 from 3. Since then, they've gone 1 for 5. So not only is the percentage lower, but not as many three-point shots in general being taken by Lynchburg. 3 for 10 all told on the day. KG denied by Green. Aaron Green, first in the ODAC and blocks per game. And you can see why. Long arms, great positioning. She's tough to beat down low. Getting away from Kate Kolb, Amy DeBell gets 2 more for her afternoon. Fresh after getting 4 points yesterday against Roanoke, DeBell up to 16 today against Lynchburg. Couple of screens for Harris, lining up the triple, leaves it off the front of the iron. Offensive rebound, second chance, no good for Kolb. Hatfield gets past 3 Hornets and gets it across half court.
You know, we made Hatfield the player to watch today, and she still has not made an attempt at the basket, but it's almost an entirely opposite look from last night, where DeBell only had 4 points, like you said, and she had 17. Now she's just kind of running the offense without taking a shot, running it through DeBell, making Lynchburg pay for it down low.
KG with the bucket. Second player for the Yellow Jackets to reach double figures. KG up to 11. The lead grows to 5 for Randolph-Macon. 2 defenders swarm Green. Foul on the floor. First whistle to go against RMC here in the fourth quarter. Subs on. Lizzie Davis checking back in for Lynchburg. Paige Anderson on the floor now for RMC. GC Davis staying underneath the basket. Last home game for Lynchburg was one with plenty of flair. Overtime winner against Guilford last Saturday. Game-winning shot coming at the buzzer in the extra period, courtesy of Aaron Green. Here's the aforementioned Green, headed to the free throw line after drawing the foul.
You know, we talked in the beginning of the broadcast about, 10 years ago, we would have been wanting to foul the bigs.
Sure.
But with Aaron Green shooting 81% from the charity stripe, she can keep getting those, pulling those fouls in, keep getting to the line, get those free points. Might see a little bit of a different look in this fourth quarter. We haven't seen a lot of fouls, a lot of trips to the line at all for either team.
2 for 2 trip, 1 possession difference. And talking to Aaron Green this week on the Hive Podcast, which if you're watching this game on this YouTube channel, you'll be able to watch that episode of the Hive Podcast. But Aaron Green had made note that she's always been tall, and everybody said, oh, you're good at basketball because you're tall. And that put a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. And she said, well, all right, I'm just going to get good at everything else, like playing defense and putting yourself in a good position to pick up your 3rd block on the day, but also free throw shooting, how quick she gets up and down the floor, both on the offensive side, but also getting back on defense. She did the little things to prove that not only is she tall, but she's a good basketball player in and of itself. Here it's Green finding Vetter. Senior drives, gets to the free throw line, returns the favor. Back in the hands of Green. Flings it back out to Harris. 5 seconds on the shot clock. The 3, no good. Loose ball picked up by KG. Swung over to Conrad. Doesn't take the shot over Green. Instead, Anderson sinks it from just outside the restricted circle, and a timeout is called by Coach Nichols. 30-second timeout used by first-year head coach Allison Nichols. This is a spot now where over the course of the second half, she's seen her team, one possession at a time, have the lead slip out of their fingers. And so far in the second half, Randolph-Macon with the advantage, 21-8. Not only has the Yellow Jackets played really well in the second half, hasn't necessarily been close, especially when you look at what RMC's done on the defensive side. Lynchburg's still looking for an answer to get some points on the board.
Absolutely, and we talked about it a little bit at the half, but that 3-point shot is something that Lynchburg either needs to start dropping or they have to find an answer, because they have very little offensive production right now, and they're not going to survive the rest of this game without it.
And the 2 points so far in the fourth quarter from the free throw line. So if you were to ask me, that seems like a place where they're, one, playing to a strength, but also there might be enough opportunities to go around, right? You already have 2 fouls against Randolph-Macon. Put your head down, go to the basket, hope you make the layup. But if not, get the whistle, head to the line, put RMC in foul trouble. And, of course, get players into foul trouble. They have to check out potentially or foul out. Puts Coach Lindsey Burke on the other side in a little bit of a conundrum, if you will. So we'll see. 5:39 to go. It's been a good one so far. I don't anticipate it being any different throughout the rest of this battle between Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon. Yellow Jackets looking for win number 7 in a row against the Hornets. Meanwhile, Lynchburg with an opportunity with a win today and a potential Shenandoah loss later this afternoon to slide up for a tie for 5th in the conference standings. Hornets have possession coming out of the break. 5.5 to go. Davis at the top of the arc. Now Harris feeds Green. 2 defenders. Pick up the big. Harris to the cup. Fouled on her way up. And here we go. 3rd foul to go against Randolph-Macon.
And we were just talking about how they need to really charge in, try for the layup, get the foul, get to the stripe for 1 or 2.
And when you look at the players on the floor right now, Olivia Harris at the line, nearly an 82% free throw shooter, knocking down the first. They have Lizzie Davis, 73% or thereabout free throw shooter. Aaron Green, we've talked about ad nauseum already, 81% free throw shooter. The 2 players, if you were Randolph-Macon, you would want to send to the line, Brooke and Meredith Vetter. Brooke Vetter, 40.5% free throw shooter. Meredith at 45.2%. But that said, even that's tricky. Putting seniors at the line in one of their final home games, you never know what emotions that might stir up and that extra notch they might be able to find to put this one away. And that's what you're hoping for if you're a Lynchburg fan, if it's those 2 at the line in a crucial spot. Shot is long from DeBell.
You know, defensively, Randolph-Macon, we saw there and in a couple plays previous, they've been double-teaming Aaron Green down low. And I'm sure anybody that gets down in the post like that, they're going to be double-teaming.
4th foul now against the Yellow Jackets. And I will say Randolph-Macon's done a really good job when they bring that second defender. It's been from a different area, so you know it's not like, you know, the men's basketball team has seen it a ton where T.C. Thacker draws a second defender. But almost more often than not, he knows immediately where the basketball should go because it's coming from the same spot. Today, the Yellow Jackets have given a lot of different looks to Green, and she hasn't been able to quickly find who that open person is. Green, the inbounder, finds Meredith Vetter. Davis with a seam to the basket. Has to touch the rim twice. That's a shot Lynchburg will want back.
That was a really good look, too. Lynchburg did a really good job of pulling almost all of the defenders out of the painted area, giving her a free shot down the baseline. Just unfortunate that it decided to tip off the rim and out.
Conrad misses long. Another offensive rebound for DeBell. Vetter induces the jump ball. It's going to stay with Randolph-Macon, however. 4:19 to play. Hatfield to inbound. Conrad, catch and shoot. Another miss. Conrad's had a tough day shooting the basketball, especially from beyond the arc. Now 0 for 4. Davis draws the 5th foul to go against Randolph-Macon. And not often you and I can say this, but it seems that you and I were on the same page as Coach Allison Nichols with the point of attack. Hey, if you can't beat them in the half-court set when their defense is body to body with you, get to the free throw line. Then, one, you stop the clock, provides for an opportunity to catch your breath as well. But then it's been a spot where Lynchburg's been really solid today as a team. 7 for 8 from the free throw line. And once again, the broadcaster jinx comes to fruition. Make it 7 for 9. Now Davis hoping to make it a 2-point game if she knocks down the second. She does just that.
That's just one of those rare misses from Davis at the line, shooting almost 73% from the free throw. Not something you see very often.
Davis 5th in the conference, both in free throws attempted and made. That trip to the line for Davis. Just the first 2 free throws she's taken all afternoon. Pass to the corner. Pasqualone left it short. Another offensive rebound, this time for Catherine Cagey. Sets up an inbound play as Lynchburg was called for the foul. Just the 2nd to go against the Hornets, but it's the 3rd of the day against Davis, so we'll continue to monitor that throughout the rest of this contest. DeBell at the far side elbow. Long 2, Cagey, no good. Gathering the miss, Pasqualone backs it out. Offensive rebound number 20 today for the Yellow Jackets, but nothing to show for it. Davis works quick, finds Kolb. We're tied, 49 all. And it's turned over by Randolph-Macon. Davis finds Harris, the freshman. Misses with a left-handed layup.
Davis playing with a lot more intensity right now on defense.
Senior has an ability to ratchet up the intensity to a whole nother level, especially in these type of situations. KG left wide open, knocks it down and makes the Hornets pay. The crowd certainly into it. Harris looked in the direction of Kolb. Instead, Davis lofts to Green. 8 seconds on the shot clock. And Green draws the foul, headed back to the free throw line. Green on the day with 11 points, 2 for 2 from the line. Here's the foul once again. And it's another example of that second defender coming in to make life a little bit harder for Aaron Green. And Pasqualone is going to head to the bench for the Yellow Jackets and bring Devin Conrad back to the floor. Conrad 0 for 4 from three-point land today, 1 for 20 now on the season as Green knocks down the first. And Green goes 2 for 2 to make it 51-51. 13 points for Green. She trails just Kolb.
It was just seemingly she's unfazed by those double teams down low. She still focused, still knocks those down.
First shot of the day for Hatfield. Off the side of the iron. 2 minutes to play. Lynchburg looking to retake the lead. Davis takes on Conrad, draws the foul. Stop me if you've heard that so far in the fourth quarter. Davis putting her head down on a mission. This game playing to some degree similar to the Guilford win last Saturday for Lynchburg. In and out for Davis on the first attempt. Now it comes down, knock down the second free throw, and retake that lead, even if it's only a point. 1 for 2 for Davis, now 2 for 4 in the afternoon. Pass tipped away by Harris. Anthony falls on it. Jump ball called. Hornets have possession.
Playing with some tenacity on defense, getting those looks, trying to get the ball back.
And how about a freshman with 7 points who's shooting 2 for 12 from the floor today? Pulling that one out from the inside and making a huge defensive play. Kolb now drawing a second defender. Called for a travel. Big stop for Randolph-Macon. 88 seconds left. RMC looking to keep pace with Washington and Lee, who's taking on Ferrum today. We have a timeout on the floor. Additionally, the Yellow Jackets can make it wins in 3 of their last 4 games played. Meanwhile, Lynchburg coming off the win against Hollins. Well, the win today can say the same. W's in 3 of their last 4 games. We anticipated a close one coming into this one. It's going to be a great crowd on hand. It's also a Lynchburg team that has a good home court advantage. 8-1 on the season here at home, plus the good crowd. And these two teams have a knack for playing close ones. And we have certainly seen that on display today.
Absolutely, especially Lynchburg's, especially right now, you got 1:25 on the clock. They've got to really want this. They lost earlier this season. They haven't won at home in 5 years. I cannot imagine the energy right now that they have to try to win this game.
And Lynchburg's been really solid here in the fourth quarter, able to stave off a late push from Randolph-Macon. The Yellow Jackets won the third quarter, came out hot to start the fourth, but Lynchburg, propelled by getting to the free throw line, have themselves up by one, and a turnover for Randolph-Macon will certainly help the Hornets. 17th giveaway for the Yellow Jackets.
Still on those turnovers, if you were just looking at that, you might think this game looks way different. Still only 5 points off those turnovers for Lynchburg.
You would another crazy stat we've talked about a ton today. 16-0 advantage in second chance points for Randolph-Macon. Yet they trail by one. Lynchburg looking to grow the lead. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Davis against Hatfield. Stop, pop, Davis watches it drop. Full one possession advantage, 54-51. And now it comes down to who can come away with a stop here for Lynchburg. If you're a Hornets fan, you are leaning on this team's #1 spot in the ODAC, holding teams to shoot 33.5%. And so far today, that's right where Randolph-Macon's at, 33.3%. And as much as Lynchburg has a team with a lot of offensive firepower, their defense has been one of their biggest strengths. And now with 44.5 seconds to go, that's what you're leaning on here.
Absolutely. Likewise with that, in this game with Randolph-Macon only shooting 21% from the three, they're down by 3. I'm not saying you got to let them have an open look on the 3, but you can't let them get down low and draw a foul in the and one.
And it's an interesting play here. We'll see if, and she is, Haley Pasqualone is on the floor once again for Randolph-Macon. She has 2 of the 4 made threes today. Pasqualone 2 for 5 from the arc. She has been the main provider from three-point land for the Yellow Jackets, and Pasqualone will inbound.
You can imagine that Randolph-Macon will try to go 2 for 1 here.
If they want to do that, they'll need a shot up pretty quick. Instead, taken away by Davis. Poked away by Hatfield. What a fantastic play.
There's still a shot clock.
Less than a second difference. Timeout called by Coach Lindsey Burke. What a play for junior from Virginia, Sheridan Hatfield. Poked it away from Davis. You see her in the huddle, frustrated with herself. And really, as a ball handler, there's not much you can do. You obviously don't have eyes in the back of your head. Can't see that coming. But Hatfield did not give up on that play. I know if it's me and I turned it over, I'm hanging my head down. Not the case with Sheridan Hatfield. That kept the door open, and now Randolph-Macon with a 3 can tie this one up. If it's a shot from downtown, to me, it's got to be Pasqualone.
Absolutely. But, you know, on the point of Lizzie Davis, she might have lost that ball, but she did take away one opportunity at least from Randolph-Macon to score once and potentially even score again.
And you could even look at that and say, hey, well, Randolph-Macon got the basketball back, but now they have 23 seconds to work with as opposed to 30. And, you know, when you're talking about that little of a time, you know, that 33% difference in time remaining is a pretty large one, as the percentage would make it out. And there is still a shot clock on. 0.1 second differential, as close as it gets. But, man, this game has not disappointed. Here's a look ahead for both sides. Lynchburg won't be in action until Wednesday. They will hit the road and take on Roanoke. 7:30 tip, and then they're back in action next Saturday as part of a doubleheader here on the floor of Wayne Prophet Courts, taking on Shenandoah. And then after that, another home game 2 days after against Hollins. Games against Shenandoah and Hollins, both coming to you on LHSN. Meanwhile, for Randolph-Macon, looking ahead, 2-day turnaround. They'll take on Hollins on Monday at home, however, 7 p.m. tip. Then Wednesday, another 2-day turnaround at home against Shenandoah, another 7 o'clock tip. The possession to potentially decide the victor. Pasqualone hands off to Bell. Looking for Conrad. Now it's Hatfield with Davis working through the screen. Pasqualone heaves the trifecta off the front of the rim. Lynchburg holds on and takes down Randolph-Macon for the first time in nearly 5 years. Hornets elevate to 12-8 on the season, 8-5 in conference action, and depending on what happens later on between Guilford and Shenandoah, the Hornets might even elevate a spot in the conference rankings. Meanwhile, Randolph-Macon likely to fall a full game behind Washington and Lee. were up at the break against Ferrum, but the Yellow Jackets now 12-6 in the year and 10-2 inside conference play. Pierce, what a fun game. Let's talk about some takeaways from this contest, starting with Randolph-Macon. Obviously, it's tough to play 2 games back-to-back, especially against 2 of the best teams in the conference, but they showed a lot of fight. Ultimately, 3-point shooting felt like a huge missing component for this team's offense.
Absolutely, but you got to think about it. They came into Wayne Profit Court, where Lynchburg is now 9-1 on the season here, and it's a code red. You've got a bunch of students and parents here to support. That's got to get in your head a little bit, especially with how tired you must be. Get a little bit of a respite before you get back to it. But that has had to play a significant role in today's loss for them.
And again, Randolph-Macon will play 2 more games over the course of the next 4 days. It does not get any easier ahead for the Yellow Jackets. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, this is a game that made you feel just about every emotion you could possibly feel. Felt great at the end of the first half. 8-point lead. Felt like Lynchburg really was the better team. Then the third quarter happens, and things take a big shift. But give a ton of credit to Coach Nichols and this Hornets team in general. Staying resilient, and when the offense started to get stagnant, found a way to work themselves to the free throw line, and that, to me, feels like the big difference down late in this contest.
Absolutely, and there's some really good takeaways for Lynchburg as well. I mean, they almost doubled, or they did double the points in the paint against Randolph-Macon. They may not have been shooting that well from the 3, but when you can get 32 points under the basket, I wouldn't be that upset.
And I don't know how many times I've been able to see this, but Lynchburg won this game despite not getting a single second chance points. Randolph-Macon 16-0 advantage in that statistical category. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that, but that speaks to what kind of game we saw. Thank you all for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. We appreciate you tuning in to LHSN. For my broadcast partner Nathaniel Pierce, for my director Sam Rice, and the rest of our fantastic LHSN broadcast crew, my name is TJ Wingard. And until next time, we are signing off.